Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it up for 30 plus years. But there should be no hesitation in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to continue the series on what to eat when you go to a certain type of restaurant or cuisine. Today it's Italian food. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, naturopathicearth.com. Has tons of articles and recipes. There's a link in there. Check out my podcast, The Awakened Man. Check out my books. And if you appreciate my content, there is a link for PayPal. Make a small donation of $5. Goes a long way. All right, so I'll put a link in for the first episode we did, which is on Mexican food. Today's Italian food. Now, the approach to these restaurants is a little different if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to maintain it. We have an episode on the fundamental differences in strategy between weight loss and weight maintenance. But in general, I'm going to tell you the do's and don'ts, because like with all cuisines, there are superfoods that can be found in everything. And as we talked about in Mexican food does have a lot of superfoods, but there are things you need to avoid. With Italian food, as we see here in America, like a la Olive Garden, there's a lot of pitfalls, more than probably superfoods. So let's talk about what to avoid. And now, please, if there's any Italians, listen to this, but you don't know what you're talking about. We make everything this is all corrupted food. Trust me, man, I'm Mexican. My family's from Mexico. When I go to a Mexican restaurant here in Texas, it's not Mexican. So I hear you. Either way, we know the problems with typical standard Italian food. And this is a hot take. Italian food's overrated. It's essentially 3 ingredients. It's going to be a pasta in some shape, throw some sauce on it, and then bread. That's essentially 70% of all Italian food. Let's be real. Let's be real. Just pasta, sauce, bread. Now, is pasta a problem? Again, look, if you're trying to maintain your weight, it's not going to be so much of a problem. But pasta in general does come from wheat, so it's going to have gluten, and it doesn't have a lot of nutrition. Now, yes, there are pastas now that are laden with protein. And go to the episode about how you should throw out your protein shakes, because most Americans and certainly American men are eating way too much protein. So I would tell you that sure, you can get the protein-laden pasta, but as a whole, the standard pasta is lacking pretty much everything, because it's just all the benefits of the wheat, like found in the bran, is gone. So it's refined. It's just refined differently than flour is. The sauces as a whole are problematic. Now, I would tell you that probably the safest sauces to go with would be marinara, because it's tomato-based. If you make it on your own, it's real. I mean, in Prego and all those have tons of preservatives and tons of sugar. And that we have that mentioned in the 5 sugar-laden foods. And spaghetti sauce is one of those that we all know has tons of sugar. So ideally, you want to make your own. But if you're at a restaurant, you're kind of screwed, because every sauce is problematic. Don't get me wrong, if I ever go to Italy, I love spaghetti carbonara. It is my favorite. I love that stuff. But after 30 years of keeping my weight up, I think I could deserve to eat it here and there when I go there. And it's funny because I only get it when I go there. I've never found a place here that I would even contemplate it. But the heavier cream-based sauce, like Alfredo sauces, for example, highly problematic. I mean, they just have tons of fat and not healthy fats and tons of calories. Pesto's okay. Pesto's not bad, but most restaurants aren't going to have pesto sauce. Most restaurants you're looking at either in terms of pasta, which we know, like in Italy, pasta is not the main dish. This is one of the appetizers that they do. But when you look at sauces, pretty much marinara is going to be your go-to choice if you're at a restaurant. Now, bread, I mean, come on, it's Italian food. Who doesn't like to dip warm bread into pasta sauce or into cheese or whatever? Again, bread, just like tortilla chips at a Mexican restaurant, I'm not going to tell you to go to a Mexican restaurant and not eat some chips. Just don't ask for that second basket. With the bread, again, 1 or 2 breadsticks isn't going to kill you. That's fine. Now, what can you eat at an Italian restaurant? Well, like a lot of Italian food, or I should say like a lot of cuisines, there are healthy options. It's just they're not the standard things that we think about. Like when you think of Mexican food, what do we think of? Nachos, enchiladas, all the heavy cream stuff. So when we think of Italian food, we're not going to think of chicken and vegetables. We're not going to think about a lamb dish, eggplant parmesan. Now, chicken parm is a little problematic because it's fried. But again, If you can make a choice that has some meat in it, some protein in it, with some vegetables and a little pasta on the side with marinara, that's probably your safest bet when it comes to Italian food. Is to get like, and you're gonna see this on our episode we do on Thai food and Greek food and all these things. Opt for the vegetables, opt for the meat, and stay away from the sauces. That's your best choice. Now, backing up, going to appetizers. Tell me an appetizer that's pretty healthy at any place you go to. But I love calamari. My favorite Italian restaurant serves calamari. Calamari is problematic. The calamari I get though, it's this thick. It's so good. And calamari is great because it's seafood, but again, it's fries. You got to be wary on that. And in terms of mozzarella cheese sticks, you got to stay away from that. Anything that's just laden with cheeses and sauces, you pretty much got to stay away from that. So if there's an appetizer that's kind of vegetable based, like maybe fried mushrooms would arguably be better than going with anything that is doused in sauce and cheese. When it comes to desserts, we didn't cover this in Mexican food, but name me desserts that are somewhat healthy. You're gonna have problems with that. So at Italian restaurants, you're looking at cannolis. That's just pure sugar. Don't get me wrong, they're really good. You're looking at tiramisu. For most of my adult life, I thought was actually a Japanese dessert because it ends in a U and you'll be tiramisu. I didn't know it was Italian. Don't get me wrong, that stuff's good too, but most of the desserts, I would say go home and eat some berries and whipped cream. So in closing, if you have to go to an Italian restaurant, there are options. Probably do something that is fish-based. There are Italian fish-based, chicken-based, eggplant parmesan. Just try to stay away from going there and getting the fettuccine alfredo. Oh, but it comes with chicken cubes. No, just do your best to stay away from any of the heavy creams. Don't eat 8 servings of bread. And remember, in closing, like I just had that episode out, when you're morbidly overweight, there's no cheat days. When you go to an Italian restaurant, if you're morbidly overweight, you shouldn't really be going to Italian restaurants. Really, when you're trying to lose weight, if you're morbidly overweight, you should be eating home every day because you can control the ingredients. But if you are going to go to an Italian restaurant and you see everybody eating pizzas, which is just sauce, cheese, and bread, again, going back to my thing, 70% of all Italian food are those 3 things. You're going to have to practice a lot of willpower, a lot of fortitude, a lot of temperance, and just go with kind of the more vegetable, protein-based with grilled vegetables on the side. Guys, post in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. What's your take on Italian food? Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.